Hey, Edith! I just changed my phone a moment ago. Got a new number, so can you save it? Also, my messaging account is new, so add that too.
Why did you suddenly get a new phone? You just upgraded to the latest model last year.
A lot happened. Anyway, you can delete my old contact. And make sure to block my old messaging account.
A lot happened? What do you mean? And why would you go out of your way to buy a new phone while you're on a business trip?
I'll explain later. For now, I need to get back to work. Listen, just make sure you block that account, alright? Edith, do you have a moment? I need to talk to you about something important.
Something important?
Remember how I suddenly changed my phone the other day? Actually, I was preparing for a fresh start in my life.
A fresh start? What do you mean? Don't tell me you're being transferred to another location for work.
No, this has nothing to do with my job. Edith, I know this is sudden, but I want a divorce.
A divorce?
There's someone else. No, to be clear, I'm already in a relationship. I want to leave you and be with her, so I need you to agree to the divorce.
Wait a minute. By saying you're in a relationship, you mean you cheated on me?
Yeah, I won't try to hide it. I was seeing someone behind your back, and I got her pregnant, so I have to take responsibility and marry her.
You've got to be kidding me. Not only did you betray me, but you also got her pregnant? That's unforgivable.
As a man, I have to take responsibility. Luckily, we don't have any kids together, so I need you to divorce me immediately.
You expect me to just accept this out of nowhere? I never thought you were the kind of person who would cheat.
Sorry, but men are just like that.
And now you're acting all smug about it? If I do agree to the divorce, will you take proper responsibility for your actions?
Are you talking about alimony? Sorry, but I have no intention of paying you a single cent, so just sign the divorce papers and leave.
Excuse me?
A wife who gets cheated on is at fault. I didn't do anything wrong. That means I don't have to pay you anything.
You've got to be joking! You're willing to take responsibility for your mistress, but not for me? If you won't do what's right, then I absolutely refuse to get divorced.
Shut up! When I say we're getting divorced, we're getting divorced! Now be a good son and sign the divorce paper.
Wait, son?
What? No, I misspoke! I'm too excited about my future child, that's all. Anyway, you just need to divorce me. No alimony since I got someone else pregnant. Just sign the papers and keep quiet.
My husband is sitting right next to me.
What?
Wait a second. Cam, is that you? You were pretending to be Dave and trying to make me agree to a divorce? What exactly were you trying to do?
Well, why? How did you know it was me?
Because you slipped up and called him your son. Plus, Dave is sitting right here, and he immediately guessed it was you.
Why is my son there? He was supposed to be on a business trip in Florida. That's why I timed this perfectly and even got a new phone.
You really went to great lengths, huh? Because of you, I actually blocked Dave's real account. But instead of losing contact, he got worried and cut his business trip short to come home.
No way!
And we were just discussing it, trying to figure out who was behind this. But I never expected the culprit to be you.
If only Dave had not come back early, everything would have gone perfectly!
Well, what can I say? He just loves me that much.
What?
He panicked after just a few days without contact. He's completely head over heels for me. The reason your plan failed is that you underestimated how much he loves me.
Don't get cocky! I will never accept this. My son deserves a cute, sweet wife. Someone like his ex, Rachel.
Are you seriously still saying that? Dave and Rachel broke up 3 years ago.
Shut up! They were supposed to get back together, but you got in the way. I wanted my dear Rachel to be my daughter-in-law.
You do realize Rachel probably doesn't want anything to do with this, right? The fact that her ex's mother is still obsessed with their relationship, she'd probably be disgusted.
That's not true. Rachel told me herself that she wanted to get back together with Dave. She was too shy to say it to him directly, so she asked for my help. That's why I've been doing all of this.
Wait, are you telling me you and Rachel have been working together on this?
That's right. We planned everything together.
Unbelievable. You two actually came up with this ridiculous scheme. A meddling mother-in-law and a desperate ex? That's a nightmare combo.
Now that I've told you everything, just accept it and divorce Dave already. Rachel is the one who belongs with him. I will never accept you as my daughter-in-law.
Fine, you don't have to accept me as your daughter-in-law. In return, I won't acknowledge you as my mother-in-law either.
What?
I didn't marry Dave to be accepted by you. Marriage is between the two people involved. It doesn't matter what their parents think. So if you don't want to recognize me as family, go ahead. It makes no difference to me.
What's with this arrogant attitude? Even though I've made it clear I don't like you, you're acting like it doesn't affect you at all.
Just so you know, Dave feels the same way. If I'm an arrogant wife, then he's an arrogant son.
Don't be ridiculous. Dave is not arrogant. He's always been a kind, filial son. He only married you because he was confused. He won't be acting so smug for long. He'll definitely come to his senses and divorce you.
That's enough, Mom!
What?
I feel the same way as Edith. If you refuse to accept her, then I have no choice. As long as you keep this up, consider yourself cut off from me.
Dave? What are you saying?
This is the only way, otherwise this argument will never end. If we can't see eye to eye, then we need to create some distance.
A son cutting off his mother? No, I know what's happening. Edith must have forced you to say this. I know you would never abandon me.
This is my decision alone. Edith is just as surprised as you are. I know you've always wanted a daughter, Mom, and I know you adored Rachel. She was sweet, domestic, and checked all the boxes for your ideal daughter-in-law. But our relationship ended a long time ago, so stop interfering.
But Rachel still wants to be with you. She told me herself. She even tried asking you to take her back, didn't she?
You even know about that?
Then why won't you give her another chance? She would be a much better wife than Edith. It's not too late. Just divorce her. You still have feelings for Rachel, don't you?
Not a single one. Not after she cheated on me with my best friend.
What? Rachel cheated? With your best friend?
Dan, my childhood friend. The guy I played baseball with since we were kids. My catcher when I was the pitcher. Rachel cheated on me with him. That's why we broke up.
You're lying.
It happened at one of our baseball reunions. I got drunk one night, so I asked Rachel to pick me up. That's when they exchanged numbers and started their affair.
No way. Dan, of all people. You two were inseparable. Our families were even close. And Rachel, I can't believe she would cheat.
And yet you still want me to go back to her? Are you really telling me to marry someone unfaithful?
Edith
isn't like Rachel. She loves me and only me. She's the person I feel the safest with. I have no intention of letting her go, and I never want to see you again. We're done here. And just so you know, I'm telling Dad everything.
But wait!
Don't ever try to contact us again. If you do, you'll regret it.
How are you going to take responsibility for this? Because of you, I haven't been able to contact Dave at all since then. And on top of that, my husband scolded me harshly. Thanks to you, I've been feeling absolutely miserable.
Huh? I don't see how any of that is my fault. This is entirely your own doing, so don't try to put the blame on me.
You're just as insolent as ever. You could at least show some remorse and apologize. Rachel was kind enough to comfort me when I was crying my eyes out.
Wait, are you seriously still hanging out with that cheating woman?
Don't be so vulgar. Rachel didn't cheat because she wanted to. Dave is also at fault for making her feel lonely.
What?
When I first found out Rachel had cheated, I was devastated. But she didn't run away. She explained everything to me honestly. She didn't really want to cheat. But Dave was always busy with work, and when he had time off, he was always out with his friends. She felt lonely, and she wanted him to be jealous. That's the only reason she strayed.
And you actually accepted that ridiculous excuse? She betrayed your precious son, you know?
As a woman, I completely understand how Rachel felt. Even I have made mistakes when I was feeling lonely. When it happens under these circumstances, cheating is understandable, so it doesn't count.
Hold on. Are you admitting to having cheated before? That's honestly disturbing.
That's not the point right now. Listen, I'm not giving up. A cheeky daughter-in-law like you is not fit for my son. I will make sure Rachel marries him instead.
If anyone is being cheeky here, it's Rachel. She got dumped, and yet she has the audacity to run crying to her ex-boyfriend's mother? Not only that, but she was the one who cheated, and now she's trying to weasel her way back in? As a woman, I find her attitude extremely off-putting. If she really wants to win Dave back, she should tell him to his face instead of scheming behind the scenes. If she wants a proper fight, I'd be happy to challenge her to a duel under the bridge.
Rachel is a delicate and kind girl. I won't let her do something so violent.
A truly delicate woman wouldn't be orchestrating this ridiculous plot for a reunion.
Regardless, I will make sure you and Dave get divorced. I won't give up just because of this.
Oh, perfect. That's a solid confirmation. Let me take a screenshot and send it to my father-in-law. While I'm at it, I'll include your little defense of cheating as well. If this ends in divorce, well, that's out of my hands.
Oh, wait!
Dave told you, didn't he? He said never to contact him again, never to come near him. And I'm pretty sure your husband already scolded you thoroughly for this. Yet here you are, contacting me without a second thought. So I'll just go ahead and report this, as I was asked to do.
No, wait! Don't do anything unnecessary!
I was specifically told to report if you contacted me again.
What?
Oh, looks like I already got a reply from my father-in-law. He says he's going to pick up the divorce papers now.
What?
Here's what he wrote. I apologize for everything. At this point, I think the best course of action is for us to divorce and completely sever ties. If we do that, I will no longer be your husband, and you will no longer be Dave's mother. With that, you will have no reason to contact them ever again.
No!
Also, it seems like he already knew about the cheating. He wrote, "She doesn't even seem remorseful, so I have no hesitation about going through with the divorce."
What did you just say?
I wonder how much he actually knows. Maybe he found out a long time ago and just let it slide. You should probably have a proper conversation with him about that.
No, I don't want a divorce. I'm already in my 60s. I've been a housewife my entire life. If I get divorced now, I'll be completely screwed.
That's something you should discuss directly with my father-in-law. There's nothing I can do about it.
I was really told to divorce. Right after that, my husband brought me the divorce papers. He told me to sign them immediately. No matter what I said, he wouldn't listen.
Oh, my father-in-law must be quite terrifying when he's angry.
And you know what? He knew all about my past infidelity. He knew and chose to overlook it. Back then, he said he was too busy with work to pay attention to the family. He believed that if his wife cheated, it was because he wasn't around enough. He thought it was something that just happened.
Oh my.
But, he said, just because he had let it slide doesn't mean I should act like nothing happened. He assumed I would feel guilty, but apparently I didn't seem to. He said he couldn't accept the mindset that it's okay for a husband to be at fault for being cheated on. That's something you, the one who actually cheated, shouldn't be saying.
It's such reasonable logic that I couldn't say anything back.
Then, after I signed the divorce papers, I was immediately kicked out of the house. They only let me take what little luggage I could carry. What am I supposed to do now?
I have no idea. Why don't you reach out to Rachel? You've always treated her like your own daughter, haven't you?
I don't need you to tell me that. I've already tried contacting her, but she's completely cut me off.
What?
When I begged her to let me stay because I had nowhere else to go, she said, "Why should I live with some stranger like you?" And that was the last I heard from her. I never thought she'd be so heartless.
Oh, looks like her true colors are finally showing.
Isn't it terrible how she's abandoned me like this? I've always been there for Rachel. I've been doing everything I could to convince my son to accept her.
You even justified all her cheating, and now look at the result. I've been cut off by my son and told to divorce by my husband. All my struggles have been in vain.
Please, Edith. I swear I'll accept you as my daughter-in-law now. I'm sorry for all the terrible things I've said to you in the past. I'll apologize for everything, so please help me out.
What exactly are you asking me to help you with?
First, I need you to help me convince your father-in-law. If you, as his daughter-in-law, ask him, maybe he'll cancel the divorce. And I want to make up with Dave, too. Could you help mediate between us?
I'm sorry, Cam. I have to decline all of your requests.
Why? I'm telling you, I'll apologize for everything I've done up to now.
I've always been the cheeky daughter-in-law you've described me as, so I'm sorry, but even if you apologize now, I won't be able to forgive you.
Well, wait, I don't know what to do.
Well then, I'll take my leave. Don't worry, I'll make sure not to cheat, and I'll make your son happy. You can rest easy knowing that. Cam's situation had grown more complicated as the weeks passed. The divorce between her parents was more than just the dissolution of a marriage. It felt like the unraveling of everything she had once known and believed in. It wasn't just a legal separation between two people, it was a death of a dream. The severing of the very fabric of the family unit that had always been her sense of stability. For Cam, her world was falling apart at the seams, and she couldn't stop it. In her desperate attempt to salvage something from the wreckage, Cam had tried to appeal to her husband. She had tried everything she could think of to reverse the divorce, even resorting to the most humble and desperate of actions, begging on her knees. The scene was heart-wrenching, full of emotion, and marked by Cam's desperation to repair the damage that had been done. She had pleaded, asking her husband to reconsider, to give her mother a second chance, to somehow mend the brokenness that had overtaken their family. But her husband, with a coldness that she couldn't understand, refused to even acknowledge her pleas. To him, the decision had been made. He had already checked out, emotionally and physically. His mind was set, and Cam was left powerless in the face of it. No amount of pleading or begging would change his resolve. As soon as the divorce papers were signed and processed, the finality of it all hit Cam like a tidal wave. It wasn't just a legal document. It was the end of her childhood, the end of her perception of what family was supposed to be. Her husband's indifference only made matters worse. While Cam had hoped deep down that her husband would somehow come to his senses, Dave, her son, had already come to terms with the situation long before. To him, the collapse of their family wasn't a surprise. It had been inevitable. He knew about their mother's affair for years. He had seen the signs and had been forced to accept that the people he had once admired and looked up to were fallible, human, and capable of making catastrophic mistakes. "I knew about Mom's affair," Dave had said one day when the topic of the divorce came up. His voice was so calm, so resigned, that it almost made it sound like he was talking about something trivial. "I came back from school one day and there was some guy in the house. I didn't think much of it, to be honest. I knew what was going on, and it didn't bother me that much anymore. It was just what happened. It wasn't even shocking." He continued, as if this revelation about their mother's betrayal was just another mundane piece of family history. "I couldn't be bothered with it. Divorce? Yeah, it was just a matter of time." Dave had a way of removing himself emotionally from situations like this. He had grown up in a household where things were never as perfect as they seemed. And he had learned early on that there was no point in clinging to illusions of family unity. Dave's detached perspective contrasted sharply with Cam's emotional breakdown. To her, the breakup of their parents' marriage was a deep personal wound, a betrayal she couldn't quite process. She had always idealized the idea of family, the concept that, no matter what, family should stand together, but her husband's coldness toward her plea for reconciliation left her questioning everything. She couldn't understand how he could walk away so easily, how he could shut her out like that when she needed him most. Her husband, in her eyes, was someone who had simply given up. It was during this turmoil that Cam began to direct her anger toward Rachel, the woman who had, in her mind, stolen her family, the woman who had been the catalyst for the unraveling of everything Cam had held dear. Rachel had always been a peripheral part of Cam's life, someone who never seemed to pose any real threat. But now, after the revelation of the affair and the ensuing divorce, Rachel became a convenient target for all of Cam's fury. Cam didn't just want to confront Rachel, she needed someone to blame, someone to hold accountable for the wreckage her life had become. Cam stormed over to Rachel's house, driven by a mix of grief, frustration, and confusion. She wanted answers, but more than that, she wanted closure. She needed someone to take responsibility for the destruction of her family, someone to acknowledge the pain she was feeling. So, she found herself knocking on Rachel's door, her mind spinning with rage and her heart heavy with grief. When Rachel opened the door, Cam immediately launched into her accusations. "It's all your fault. You took everything from me. You ruined everything. You destroyed my family." Her voice cracked with emotion as she shouted, her words tumbling out in a wave of anger and disbelief. Rachel, standing in the doorway, was taken aback by the onslaught. She had never expected anything like this, certainly not from Cam. In fact, Rachel had always thought of herself as someone who was just trying to get by, never intending to hurt anyone. But here she was, being accused of destroying a family she had never truly been a part of, being blamed for something that was far beyond her control. She stood frozen, not knowing how to respond, unsure whether to defend herself or apologize for something she hadn't intentionally done. The confrontation escalated quickly, with Cam's anger building to a fever pitch. She couldn't see beyond her own pain, her own sense of betrayal, but as her outburst reached its peak, a neighbor who had been watching from their window misinterpreted the situation. The neighbor, hearing the loud voices and seeing the heated argument, assumed something much darker was going on. They immediately assumed that Rachel was involved in some kind of fraudulent activity, perhaps targeting vulnerable elderly people. It was a hasty judgment, one made without any real understanding of the situation, but it was enough to prompt the neighbor to call the police. Within minutes, the police arrived on the scene, their flashing lights cutting through the tension of the moment. They were unaware of the backstory between Cam, Rachel, and the divorce. They only knew what they had been told. The neighbor's report painted a picture of Rachel as someone involved in a scam, and the police were now tasked with investigating it. Cam and Rachel were both taken into custody for questioning, their confrontation turning into something much more serious than either of them had anticipated. The investigation into the situation took hours. During that time, both Cam and Rachel were questioned separately by the authorities. Initially, the police officers believed that Rachel had somehow been involved in a scheme, a fraudulent scam targeting the elderly. The details of the argument had been misunderstood, and the officers had no context for the emotional chaos that had led to the confrontation. They treated it as a potential criminal case, gathering evidence and taking statements from both women. This situation was tense, confusing, and frustrating for both Cam and Rachel. They had never expected to be caught up in something like this, certainly not for something so deeply personal. However, as the hours passed and the investigation progressed, the truth began to come to light. The police realized that there was no criminal activity involved. What had occurred was nothing more than a personal, emotionally charged dispute between two people caught in a whirlwind of grief, anger, and betrayal. Rachel wasn't involved in any criminal enterprise. She was simply a bystander in a family drama that had spiraled out of control. Once the confusion had been cleared up, the authorities apologized for the misunderstanding, and Cam and Rachel were released. But the damage had already been done. The rumors had already started to spread. People in the neighborhood, always eager for gossip, began to speculate on what had really happened. The truth of the situation seemed to matter less and less as the gossip machine churned. Some people claimed that Cam and Rachel had been involved in something far more sinister, while others suggested that the entire confrontation had been staged for some unknown reason. Each new retelling of the story added layers of fiction and embellishment, making it impossible for anyone to discern the truth, with the rumors spreading like wildfire. Cam and Rachel found themselves unable to remain in the same town. The whispers, the glances, the judgment. They couldn't bear it any longer. The weight of the rumors was suffocating, and they knew that there was no way they could continue living in a place where every move they made would be scrutinized. So they decided to leave, without warning, without explanation. They packed their belongings and disappeared. Their departure was sudden and without fanfare. They didn't say goodbye to anyone. They didn't give any clues as to where they were going. They simply vanished. It was as if they had erased themselves from the town's collective memory. Some people speculated that they had gone to a larger city, hoping to start over, while others believed that they had gone into hiding, away from the judgment and the gossip that had come to define their lives. But no one really knew. The town was left with nothing but questions, with no answers to offer. And for Cam and Rachel, the future was something they would have to face alone, far away from the prying eyes that had once judged them so harshly. As the weeks passed after their departure, the town continued to buzz with rumors. The whispers about Cam and Rachel's sudden disappearance didn't die down. If anything, they grew louder, fueled by curiosity and a need for resolution. People filled in the blanks with their own theories. Some believed that Cam and Rachel had gone off together, rekindling some sort of forbidden relationship. Others thought that they had run away to escape the consequences of their actions. The gossip continued to spread, morphing into something almost mythical, as if the two women had become characters in a local legend. For Cam and Rachel, the decision to leave was as much about protecting themselves from the suffocating judgment of the townspeople as it was about seeking a fresh start. In the quiet aftermath of their departure, neither of them could escape the emotional scars that had been left behind. Despite the quiet, the weight of everything they had gone through continued to press heavily on them. Cam had lost her family. Rachel had lost her sense of normalcy, and both had been thrust into a reality they never expected to face. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.